Oh, mama jamma. I don't even need to explain to you guys what is about to go down. Yes, for the first time ever, you've got it, you guessed it, unless you're blind, you can tell that Clifford is going to be on the rollers, on the dyno, laying down some numbers for his first time ever. You getting her done down there, Ricky boy?
Something.
So guys, with the new motor combo, with the new converter, with all the pieces that we've kind of swapped out, we decided that maybe it was time to actually see what Clifford was capable of. We've never been on the dyno before in any stage, between when it was a all motor 6.0 to a nitrous 6.0 to a turbo 5.3 to a turbo 6.0 to a turbo 5.3 and now it's a turbo 5.3 again. Man, that's a lot of motors. All of those renditions, we have never had Clifford on the rollers, but today that all changes. I'd be lying if I wasn't a little bit nervous about this. You know, I mean, of course people make thousands of dyno rips every day across the country. I mean, hundreds of thousands without issue, but all you ever see is these big old gigantic dyno fails, and God, I don't want to be one of them. Do you even know what you're doing?
Not a clue. We're just gonna blow this up.
You can't say that on YouTube.
Blow this mother lover up. I don't know what you're saying.
Rick, I'm no expert, but I don't think water on the dyno is what we want.
Special Florida dynos.
Is there any gators in there? 2. All right, guys, so I think we are ready. We've got everything hooked up. RPM is reading correctly. The truck's going over the rollers happily. I have loaded up a tune in it that I think will work. We're basically going to start out with wastegate. We're going to add some dome, add some dome, add some dome until we're out of dome to add, or parts that can handle it, which we hope that's not the case. But anyway, so we're getting ready. We're going to run this thing over a quick little test and shoot. Be ready to make this thing happen, make some noise. So look at that, a whopping 459, but that's on wastegate. That was just about, it topped out about 7.5, 8 pounds right there. So that's, I mean, that's fine. We're not asking it to make any power there. It's actually kind of dumb right there. So it's on purpose. So that way we're not gonna mess around and break this thing at low boost when we're just being idiots. But there we go, there we have it. First run of the day, 459. We ran it out to 7 grand. When we race it, we'll carry it a little further to help the converter out a little bit, but 459, not bad. Now let's add some dome pressure. That was only a few pounds of dome, so we'll check out this vlog and up there.
About time to party.
What'd she do?
604 and 491.
604, 491.
67 horsepower. 67.
This little motor don't make no torque. Well, Buck, I'll tell you what.
Ain't got no gas in it.
You ain't gonna make no fuel pressure if you got no fuel to make pressure with. Leave it up to us to be out here trying to do something, and we're trying to do something and running out of fuel. At least that's what we hope it is. We hope we didn't either like
it was low though. It's almost taking this whole thing.
Okay, yeah. So hopefully that's all it was. Hopefully we didn't lose a pump or nothing, but it kind of laid over the top of that pool and I was like, oh boy, what do we do? And Anyway, out of gas. So guys, we got to looking, and if you look at this, you see that ugly area where it goes down? That's not so good for the horse torques. We have something going on there. Much like gas, you gotta have sparkulators in it, and I don't know if this is gonna focus, but there's a big old crack in one of those, and not that one, and two of those. So two of our sparkulators were in improper form to do their sparkulating job. So on to O'Reilly's and get a fresh set, since we forgot our fresh set at home. All right, fresh sparkulators to do some sparkulating. Think it'll help?
Yeah. $752. 578. Woo! We cleaned up this dip here. All of them had that dip. You got a little wave there, but much more better than that last one, that's for sure.
So we think we now have a gate problem. You never know. These things, you think you're well prepared, you think you got what you need, you've worked real hard, you double checked, and then something, a pretty nice part. It's Turbo Smart gate, pretty nice deal, and it's giving us a fit. Well guys, I think that's gonna cut it short for tonight. I think I'm gonna leave the truck here and come back later this week, because this leaky deaky diaphragm is it's not happy. Basically what was happening is that CO2 was going into the dome, pushing down, but it was also leaking through and leaking up. So that's why we were having to add so much dome pressure to get the boost that we wanted. I knew that didn't make sense, and it wasn't until we had like the key on, engine off, and the gates were, the solenoids were clicking, that we could hear the CO2 flowing through this guy into the bottom. And anyway, it all suddenly made sense. But as far as power goes, we may not have made 4 digits, but we left off with 830 on some low timing. We went back and we added some ignition timing, and we picked up right here, this last pull. These two pulls are the same amount of boost. So this red pull was at 21 pounds and it made 660. We added ignition timing and it made 743 on the same boost. So that picked up like 80 wheel right there. So if you take that same 80 wheel and add it to our 830 from earlier, oh baby, we're cresting 900 and still had 4 or 5 pounds of boost to go. that's for later this week. You know, the magic of YouTube is that it's another day for us, but it's going to be right now for you guys. One new Wastegate boy later, we can be back to making pools. So yep, new day, new haircut, and new wastegate. We're gonna load Clifford back up with the new added ignition timing that picked up a lot of power. So me and Jordan were looking over the data logs last night, and at 21 pounds, we went from like, I don't exactly remember, but we went from like 660 to like 740, and all we did was add 2 degrees of ignition timing in that area. And so where we made 839, we're made 840 at, we have like 3 degrees added. So that is, here we go. What'd you do?
A whole 695.
695, okay, yeah, that's fine. We didn't have a lot of boost in it, so that's good. Alright guys, I thought I should add in right here that this pass was about 10 p.m. We had been beating on Clifford all day, and this was about to be 55 pounds of dome pressure trying to make about 34 pounds of boost. So it was so late and it was so hard to try to update the camera the whole time, but yeah, here we go. 55 pounds of dome, 34 pounds of boost, about 840 horsepower. Let's go.
Almost 850 that time.
Was that 841?
Oh yeah.
It felt, I don't know, it sounded weird to me, so maybe I'm gun shy, I'll let out. Man, we're just learning, you know? We got this 840 horsepower wall that we're running into, and I'm trying to like Kool-Aid man this thing, like, oh yeah. But we don't want to be dumb about it. You know, first and foremost, we want this thing to run and run well more than we want it to make a number, because we could be running into a situation where this cow is making freaking all the llama kicks that it can do, and the dyno just doesn't agree through the converter and the 4L80 and the transfer case and all that stuff, and we could have like 120 mile an hour tune-up loaded in this thing, and we're thinking that we're doing 100, you know. So hey, I'm just a hillbilly, man. I just mash buttons and pedals.
We're gonna figure it out.
Everybody on the internet acts like making 1,000 horse is like, you just do it. You just slap a 88 mil on a 5.3 and you got 1,000 horse. But after like 19 dyno pulls and street tuning before this, we have hit an 841 horsepower wall, which we are starting to believe is related to maybe the coil dwell. So on the 840 horsepower pull, that's the one where we're running and it sounded like it smashed a rev limiter. It was like, rah! So that's twice now that we've been able to really get to that 840 wall and start cramming some series power in, and something else kind of gave us a hiccup. So the last run you just saw there, we picked up like 15 horsepower just by changing the coil dwell, getting the dwell to do something a little bit happier. So that may be something that we start playing with as to whether it's dwell that we're running into or whether we're just exceeding what the combination wants to show us on the roller versus what it can show us in mile an hour at the track, because ultimately the dyno is just a number. I was very, very hopeful that we could crack 4 digits, we could hang a big fat comma up there, and last night's kind of indicators kind of gave us maybe some thoughts that we could. But 841 on this dyno is it's where we're at, which I didn't have any ice. We were out of ice today, so that's horsepower there. You know, there's several things that we didn't have on this. It's a freaking billion degrees, like it's a sauna. I'm sweating out here, but I don't know. The most important thing is that the truck still runs. It makes fantastic oil pressure. All the temperatures stayed good. It didn't spill any fluids. It is not successful in our comma chase on power, but it is very successful in our shakedown run of the truck, and as well as identifying some small little problems. And we got to read a lot of spark plugs and stuff, but I don't know. It's I am disappointed, but I am optimistic. Is that like a fair assessment? Disappointed but optimistic. I really wanted to hang that comma, but I'm really not mad at what we got. You know, now I'm just eager to get it to the freaking track and let off that button, because 841 horsepower that we are able to register on the dyno is absolutely more mile an hour than I've ever been. I've only ever been 107. So 841 horsepower to the tires in this thing is absolutely more than 107 mile an hour. So if nothing else, we're gonna pick up a little speed there, huh, Ricky boy? But anyway, it's 10 o'clock. We're pissing the neighbors off, but I'm digging Z71. Thanks for watching. Keep digging. Maybe next time we'll hang 4 digits. See you next time.